Good evening. You're watching the 7 o'clock English news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. His Majesty the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces confers the Excellent Service and Royal Commendation Medals on commissioned and non-commissioned officers and personnel at the Ministry of Defense, the Sultan's Armed Forces and the Royal Guard of Oman. On behalf of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, His Highness Said Fahd bin Mahmoud Al Saeed receives Foreign Minister of Japan. The CEO of Oman Development Bank says that the bank seeks to increase its support for small and medium-sized projects to more than 400 million Omani riyals. And at the cost of $500 million, first electricity production project using solar energy in the Sultanate is launched. Those are the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Sebastián Piñera of Chile on the occasion of him being elected as President of the Republic. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, conferred the Excellent Service and Royal Commendation Medals on the commissioned and non-commissioned officers and personnel of the Ministry of Defense, the Sultan's Armed Forces and the Royal Guard of Oman, in appreciation of their dedication in serving their country and carrying out the sacred national duty. The Excellent Service and Royal Commendation Medals are conferred at Muaskar Beit al-Falaj by His Excellency Said Badr bin Saud al-Busaidi, Minister responsible for Defense Affairs. His Excellency the Minister congratulated the officers and personnel for this royal honoring. He urged them to exert more efforts to develop this dear country under the wise leadership of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos. The medals presentation ceremony was attended by Lieutenant General of Sultan's Armed Forces, Chief of Staff, Air Vice Marshal, the Commander of the Royal Air Force of Oman, Rear Admiral, the Commander of the Royal Navy of Oman, Major General of the Commander of the Royal Guard of Oman, Major General, the Commandant of the National Defense College, and Brigadier Acting Commander of the Royal Army of Oman. On behalf of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, His Highness Said Fahd bin Mahmoud Al Saeed, Deputy Prime Minister for the Council of Ministers, received today His Excellency Taro Kano, Foreign Minister of Japan, and his delegation. He conveyed his greetings of the leadership in Japan and the best wishes to His Majesty the Sultan and the government of continuous success and the Omani people of further progress and prosperity. His Highness reviewed sustainable relations between the two countries and the joint keenness to enhance existing cooperation in various fields that serve the interest of the two friendly peoples. The talks dealt with a number of issues being witnessed by the regional and international arena. From his side, His Excellency Taro Kono pointed out to the keenness of the Japan to give bilateral relations a new drive to enhance economic and investment aspects between the two countries, praising wise policy being adopted by the Sultanate in the regional and international arenas. He also expressed the significance of talks he is conducting with officials in the Sultanate and their positive impacts. The meeting was attended by His Excellency Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, and His Excellency Mitsu Gusalto, Ambassador of Japan accredited to the Sultanate. Reviewing draft laws before issuing them and studying issues forwarded by His Majesty the Sultan and the Council of Ministers were the most important works of the State Council according to its powers. During the celebration of the 20th anniversary of its establishment, the Council's march was reviewed, highlighting its undertaken role in studying laws and legislations and contributing to developing Shura work in the country. The celebration was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Yahya bin Mahfoud al-Mandhuri, Chairman of the State Council. On the 17th of December 1997, the State Council started its work upon the royal permission of His Majesty the Sultan to begin the first term of the Council of Oman. This day was the start of the advanced step on the level of cooperation between the government and citizens. In the 40th anniversary, Oman Development Bank inaugurated a new identity and strategy to open new financial horizons in line with the future vision of the Sultanate and support enabling small and medium-sized enterprises. In addition to enhance the government plans in diversifying income resources, provide opportunities of self-employment for Omani youth, and encourage investment in productive and added value economy sectors. The loan portfolio in the new strategy is expected to achieve double growth to reach to 411 million Omani Riyals compared to its level in the current year, which reached 137 million Omani Riyals. The bank is looking forward through the strategy to achieve financial sustainability and depend on its own sources. The inauguration ceremony was presided over by His Excellency Darwish bin Ismail al-Blushi, Minister responsible for financial affairs. Oman Development Bank, through its strategy 2018 to 2022, seek to increase support for small and medium-sized projects to more than 400 million Omani Riyals. This was stated by Dr. Abdulaziz bin Mohammed Al Hinai, CEO of Oman Development Bank, to the Sultanate of Oman Radio and Television. Muscat Electricity Distribution Company signed 3 agreements with more than 4 million Omani Riyals. The first and second agreements related to expand South Ma'beda and South Al Khawair electricity plants, where the third related to establishing Boshar plants. This step came in line with the company's endeavors in safe and economic cooperation, in addition to develop electricity networks in the governorate of Muscat, in which harmonized with integrated development in the fields of urban economy and industrial developments. The implementation of these projects will contribute in uplift the efficiency of the main electricity network.
First, we would like to express our sincere appreciation to Muscat Electricity for their confidence. And similar to 2017, we are planning to complete these 2 projects in 2018, hopefully within 10 months. We understand the importance and the urgency of such projects and how sensitive it is for the people in Muscat area. So hopefully we can fulfill the obligations and meet the targets, inshallah.
Oman Power and Water Procurement Company, OPWP, announced the launch of the first independent electricity production project using solar energy in the Sultanate. The project is estimated to cost $500 million and will be built, owned and operated by the private sector. The 500 megawatts solar power plant that will come up in Ibri will cater to around 33,000 homes with electricity and reduce the carbon dioxide emissions by 340,000 tons per year. The contracts of the project will be awarded in the fourth quarter of 2018, and the project will be operational by the beginning of 2021. This project is the first in the series of renewable energy projects that OPWP plans to develop over the next few years to support the sustainability strategy in the country. On other news, Turkey's Prime Minister Binali Yildirim today met Saudi Arabia's King Salman in Riyadh, and they exchanged views on regional challenges and problems. They emphasized the importance of Jerusalem's status and the need for the Islamic world to act in unity to protect the rights of Palestinian brothers. They also agreed that the resolution of Jerusalem accepted in the UN General Assembly was a strong message delivered by the international community. King Salman praised Yildirim's visit and underlined the importance of continuing consultations and cooperation with Turkey. The International Committee of the Red Cross said evacuations continue of the critically ill Syrians from the besieged rebel-held area, where conditions have reached at alarming levels. The prominent rebel group in eastern Ghouta said today that the evacuation of 29 critically ill persons was conditioned on the group releasing an equivalent number of captives it held to the government. At least 5 critically ill people were evacuated late yesterday. The evacuation was coordinated between the ICRC and the Syrian Arab Red Crescent. Authorities have issued weather alerts after snow and ice hit large parts of the UK yesterday, disrupting traffic and leaving thousands without power. The total of 14 flood warnings are in place across England, meaning flooding is expected along with 96 flood alerts. The Western Power Networks, the electricity distribution network, operate from the Midlands, South Wales and the South West, said more than 14,000 properties had been cut off. One of Britain's busiest motorways, the M1, was closed southbound in Leicestershire after a lorry jackknifed in snowy conditions. Authorities warned that snow could also impact flights across the country, including those at Birmingham Airport. Also, heavy snowstorms continued to sweep across Russia far east today, blocking roads and damaging power lines. Rescue workers continue to patrol highways and provide assistance to drivers who were blocked by snow. Local authorities say that Kamchatka region is getting ready for another cyclone that will bring more snowfall and strong winds in the peninsula. In the meantime, the Pacific island of Sakhalin in Russia's far east has been hit with a series of snowstorms since Monday, with wind gusts reaching up to about 150 kilometers per hour. Many drivers were stuck on highway blocked by snow despite warnings from the local emergency ministry. The Interfax news agency reported that a 65-year-old woman from the town of Shakhtyoksk went out for the smoke on the balcony and was blown off, landing on a snow drift below. She fell from the 4th floor, breaking an arm and 3 ribs and leaving her with a concussion. A large portion of a farmed magnolia tree planted on the south grounds of the late U.S. President Andrew Jackson will be removed because it is weak and poses safety risk. Spokeswoman for Melania Trump said the First Lady reviewed reports about the tree from the U.S. National Arboretum and explored other options before deciding to remove a portion of the tree for safety reasons. Removal is planned for this week while President Donald Trump and his family are at their Florida home for the holidays. Jackson planted the magnolia to the White House grounds in 1835, according to the White House Historical Association. He stands on the west side of the south portico, opposite a second magnolia that subsequently was planted for symmetry. Still to come, our news bulletin. To preserve its cultural and intellectual treasures, a symposium on the cultural discourse in Oman calls for establishment of Arabic language complex. Back to some local news, reviewing March of the good bilateral relations binding the Sultanate and Japan to serve the joint interest. Top discussions at the meeting of His Excellency General Sultan bin Mohammed al-Nu'mani, Minister of the Royal Office, with His Excellency Taro Kono, Japanese Minister of Foreign Affairs, and his accompanying delegation within the framework of his current visit to the Sultanate. At the beginning of the meeting, His Excellency the Minister of the Royal Office welcomed the guest, who expressed his delight to visit the Sultanate. The meeting also exchanged cordial conversations and discussed a number of topics of concern to the two friendly countries. His Excellency Yusuf bin Ali bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, also received in his office today His Excellency Taro Kono, Japanese Minister of Foreign Affairs. During the meeting, the two sides reviewed aspects of the bilateral relations and the existing cooperation between the two friendly countries on various diplomatic, economic, investment, commercial, and cultural fields and means of enhancing and developing them. The two sides also exchanged viewpoints on a number of regional and international issues of common concern and stressing means of supporting and enhancing pillars of the regional and international security and stability. The meeting also discussed means of supporting efforts to achieve aims of the sustainable economic developments for all. Institute of Public Administration approved more than 200 programs in its training plan for the year 2018. The Institute stressed that the new training plan will cover 3 scientific programs: administration, personal development, and specialized programs. The Institute will start the training plan with 2 programs. The first one, government leaders, and the second is preparing the government leaders, future leaders. The meeting on the board of directors of the Institute was chaired by His Excellency Sheikh Khalid bin Umar Al Marhoon, Minister of Civil Service and Chairman of the Institute of Public Administration. Successful experiences in the field of entrepreneurship was reviewed by Malaysian delegation during its participation in the ceremony of Oman Development Bank on its 40th anniversary. The Malaysian delegation clarified in their visual show its successful steps in supporting develop small and medium-sized enterprises. Oman Development Bank is keen to attract successful experts in the field of entrepreneurship in order to support SMEs owners in the Sultanate. The Ministry of Higher Education and Bank Muscat signed a cooperation agreement in the field of scholarships. According to the agreement, the bank will finance 20 scholarships for the graduates of general diploma from families of social security and low incomes to study in private universities and colleges in the Sultanate to get bachelor degrees, majors in accounting, IT, and business. The agreement was signed on behalf of the ministry side by His Excellency Dr. Abdullah bin Mohammed Al-Sarmi, Under Secretary of the Ministry. The Sultan is well qualified for the establishment of Arabic language complex to preserve its cultural and intellectual treasures. This was stressed by a symposium on the cultural discourse in the Sultanate of Oman. It also called for speeding up the implementation of required steps for this national project. The symposium also urged to establish a center for public opinion monitoring and social media channels and its impacts on the society's values. The event was presided over by a host, attended by a host of intellectuals and scholars. The cultural club organized an evening at its premises in the Quorum to mark its 35th anniversary and launch the new season. During the event, which was attended by a number of renowned cultural figures, writers, artists and sponsors of the club activities, the club reviewed the program of events in 2018. Chairperson of the Cultural Club said the 35th anniversary of the Cultural Club is an important event for Oman intellectuals. It's worth mentioning that the Cultural Club was established in 1983 as per a royal decree, and it was under the supervision of the Minister of Education and Youth Affairs at that time. Encouraging investments in the transformative industries in the Sultanate, a project of Al-Hayl for ceramic production was integrated its new institutional identity. The inauguration ceremony included announcement start of production in the first quarter of the coming year. It was presided over by Her Highness Sayyida Muna bint Fahad bin Mahmoud Al Said. The Minister of Housing signed a usufruct agreement for New Farms Poultry Company for establishing a poultry project in the Wilayah of Salina at the Governorate of Al Brahmi. The cost of the project, which came within the initiative of food security for support, implementation and follow-up units, reached more than 15 million Omani Riyals and will be established at 12 million square meter areas. Now for the general forecast around the Sultanate, clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate with chances of low clouds and fog late at night and early morning over the governorates of Sharqiya and Wusta and coastal areas of Sea of Oman. Winds will be southerly to southeasterly light to moderate and seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1 meter. This is the Sultan of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, confers the Excellent Service and Royal Commendation Medals on commissioned and non-commissioned officers and personnel at the Ministry of Defense, the Sultan's Armed Forces, and the Royal Guard of Oman. On behalf of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, His Highness Said Fahad bin Mahmoud Al Saeed receives Foreign Minister of Japan. The CEO of Oman Development Bank says that the bank seeks to increase its support for small and medium-sized projects to more than 400 million Omani riyals. And at the cost of $500 million, first electricity production project using solar energy in the Sultanate is launched. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here in the newsroom and the studios, thanks for watching. Good night.